It's strange how the war seemed like a distant memory. Those of us who managed to make it back in one piece were just trying to find some resemblance of normality in this god-forsaken city. The dark streets, the messy sidewalks, the shifty people made just about anyone want to run for the hills. Not me, though. I joined the force with the intent to better this place I now called home. You know, get the bad guys off the streets and save the day. Only saving the day never came. This place was filled to the brim with low lives, and no amount of policing was going to cork that bottle. Everything from greasers dealing blow to broads selling sex on 42nd and Figaro. Always someone trying to take their little piece of the pie, even if it meant sinking this place further into the gutter. If there was one thing I learned on this job, is that people will do stupid things to get what they want, especially when no one is around to hold them accountable for their sins. I always hated these stakeouts. Sitting in the car, writing down stupid notes that don't mean a thing, talking about last night's ball game with my partner, waiting for something to happen. Only this time was different. Something was going to happen, and no amount of police work or dumb luck was going to stop it. In the Pacific, the Corps trained us to be outstanding Marines, to do our jobs and come back home safe. But through all that training, we could have never guessed the horrors of what men can do to each other, to murder each other in a hail of fire and fury. And to my realization, this city was as much of a battlefield as Iwo Jima. People willing to kill each other for whatever scraps they could scrounge up. People willing to kill for heinous fantasies. Was this what we fought for? Were these the freedoms we fought tooth and nail to keep? To give people the freedom to do unspeakable acts towards each other without a second thought. You see this right here is Martin Roy-Schmidt. A real clean-cut guy, I tell ya, only he wasn't so clean. My partner and I had brought him in for questioning after the disappearance of a 14-year-old girl over in the Heights. Sally McCarthy, a student at Los Altos with a bright future ahead of her. She hadn't been seen for almost 6 weeks now, and even though everyone was thinking no one would say it. She was probably dead in a ditch somewhere waiting for some poor sap to come across her body. After 8 weeks of investigation, we finally booked him. I obsessed over this case. The thought of this monster taking the life of this innocent girl made my blood boil. And in the end, it did no justice. We failed to find any sort of physical evidence linking into McCarthy. We failed Sally, another victim to the scum of this place. The sad but very real truth that she would receive no justice, but also that she would not be the only one. Our precinct was congested with hundreds of case files just like hers. On the day of the hearing, the judge found Schmidt innocent. As he turned to walk out of the courtroom, he looked at me with a grin, almost taunting me, as if he knew he had gotten away with it and there was nothing I could say or do about it. Now the way he managed to go about taking her could be anyone's guess. The lack of any physical evidence made this case difficult to say the least, and slowly it started taking its toll on my mind. You could say I started having doubts. Both my mother and brother thought me to be obsessed. I couldn't possibly count the many times they told me, "Joey, you have a crazy imagination. Joey, you're just making things up in your head." But no, this is real. This is real life with real life consequences. And for Schmidt, the consequences of his actions were just about to catch up to him. Just then, Schmidt made his way around my car into his house, completely unaware that he was being hunted, completely unaware that he was about to regret his choices. Even so, was I really about to do this? What would my family think? What would my son think? Would they see me as the same monster as this man who had taken the life of an innocent child? What if this is all just in my mind? No, it couldn't be made up. I couldn't explain it, but it was true. The same feeling had saved me countless times in the war. This was it. No time to turn back. The bittersweet revenge will finally be in my grasp.
Joey, lunch is ready. Were you in the car again?
as a detective like Grandpa.
You have a crazy imagination.